Welcome back to Who Want a Life Sentence. I want to appreciate y'all for tapping in with me. Come and spend a little time. Please hit the like button, share, subscribe. I'm gonna put the cash app up. You know, if you can hit that thing, hit that thing. If not, just enjoy the show with your ugly ass. All right, so today I want to go over one that I've been wrestling with for a while. Reason being, first of all, he's this guy that I'm about to talk about is one of my partners, right? So that's first and foremost is out of respect for first and foremost, it's out of respect for my partner that I don't spread his business. So for this video, I won't be using any pictures, any real names. But again, I wrestle with it because I'm gonna be honest. This is, to me, this is one of the most impactful stories that I've had. And like I said, I've had to wrestle with it for a while. And that's because first of all, the similarities with my own situation and case. Second of all, the particulars of his case alone, being his age and what we now know about kids and adults in the brain and how it matures and progresses as we go along. So I'm gonna tell y'all about prison. And this is one of the facts of prison. I don't know if this is good or not, or I don't know if this should happen. Now, since I've been listening to the social media and, you know, the guys talk a lot about the paperwork party. When you go to a federal prison, then you have a paperwork party, which means you have to bring documents stating what went on in your case and trial, saying that, you know, you didn't tell anybody, you didn't tell on anybody, you ain't snitch, and, you know, you show the whole yard, which will, I guess, give you, you know, a good name and good standing in the institution. We don't have a paperwork party in the state. And what I was about to say is maybe people should have to wear their charges on, you know, on their garments or some kind of way visible, because see, when I was there, one of the unspoken rules was you didn't talk about people's case. And that was for a number of different reasons. First of all, you mind your business. You in prison. Second of all, the fact of the matter is people did and do really, really horrible things. And then if you took away the horrible things, then they just normal people like the rest of us. Like I said, once they put us in a crowd, we just a bunch of teenagers. Next thing you know, we got our own club, we got our own this, and got our own that. But we all had something horrible attached to our names that said we weren't fit for society. So people really be ashamed of the things that they do, and, you know, rightfully so. So if you had to wear what you did or what you know, your offense where people can see and read it, I don't know if that would cut down or cut back on, you know, how things, on the amount of crime that was committed. Take myself, for instance. When I was so some of the things that would go on with me is when I would be asked about my case, if I chose to talk about it, and I always chose to talk about it because the things that I would say would make me sound bigger and badder than I actually was. So when someone asked me about my case, my answer was always, I got armed robbery, aggravated assault with attempted murder. And then I say I got three or four counts of it. And to the normal person, that sounds pretty bad. Armed robbery, aggravated assault. That sounds like I got that smoke pole, I got that Thule walk, and I'm handling business. I'm terrorizing people. When in actuality, all I did was I was terrified in the robbery that I participated in. I didn't point the gun at nobody. All I did was escape. When the action started and people started throwing wallets on the ground, I picked up one of the wallets and ran. But being that I was there, I participated. I get every charge that my team get. My robbing, everything that we get, I get every charge. So again, in reality, I'm scared and shaking in my boots. But when someone asks me, I'm telling them, yeah, I did armed robbery, aggravated assault. Yeah, I'm a killer. I'm a killer. That's what I'm saying. You ain't got no business fucking with me. I'm a killer. So one of the things about prison is nobody talk about their case. Guys would have stacks and stacks of manila envelopes with transcripts and case documents, and they would be going back and forth to law libraries. A lot of time this stuff will work if you can stay down with getting your case with this and that. You'll see people end up going home or giving time back or getting stuff overturned, all this kind of stuff, right? But it's not very, very often. But again, a person will not discuss their case with you. So what happens is, because like even as I've begun to do these videos, I've realized that some of the guys that I used to hang with were, I don't know if I can call them horrible people, but they had child molestation charges. They had bad charges, and I never knew it. I mean, I've ran across, at least since I've been doing this, I ran across at least 3 of my partners that were, taking advantage of people. And I never knew it. And I hung with these people. So again, that's one of the things that go on in prison. Nobody talks about their situation. Nobody talks about their time. A person might give you how much time they got, but a lot of time they don't. And I'm not sure of the psychology behind it. I think that's what I was explaining about my own situation. So first of all, that's one of the lies I'm gonna tell. Once you ask me about what I did, I'm gonna exaggerate to make it sound bigger and badder than it actually was. That was to work into my favor. Second of all, I would lie about how experienced I was. Man, I got caught on my first robbery. Our first time going out, I had a robbery case before this, but it was a fluke, an accident. So even when I talked about that, I would say, yeah, this ain't my first case. I didn't beat a case before, to make me sound more experienced than I actually was. I would say that, I was, everything was an exaggeration, but that was just because when I got arrested, I was 14. I was still under my parents' rules and guidelines. I didn't know much about the street. So to throw me in with people who are actually doing street things, street stuff, grown-up stuff, gambling, shooting, hustling, paying bills, kids, sex, fucking, that kind of stuff. You throw me in there with that, I can't even relate. All I can talk about is my brothers and sisters in my homework. I done stole a 22 before, and now I got a armed robbery charge. So I got to do the best I can to make my stories sound as real and possible as I can, just in order to survive in here with these. They know I'm just a little bitty kid. I shouldn't even be here, to be honest. For the sake of, like I said, for the sake of the video, we're going to call him Jack. When I met Jack, we were both young. So when I met Jack, I was either 16 or 17, and I was either 17 or 18, and Jack had to be around 24, 25 years old. And never discussed how much time he had, never discussed what he had done. Now when I met Jack, a lot of times what happened in prison is a percentage. There's at least a percentage of people that find religion in prison and jail, in incarceration. I was one of those people. For a second, man, I jumped into the Bible and I dived into it really strong, and it I don't want to go too far on that subject. I'll put it like this: Jack was one of those people. Jack knew the Bible. He one of the guys that gave up all the bad habits. No sinning, no watching bad stuff on TV, no cursing, no foul mouth stuff, no fornicating. Jack ain't borrowing nobody porn books, and he ain't, for the most part, getting in line with what the word say and what the word from our Lord Jesus say, so that you can say what you want, because we all say that it's for the ultimate salvation and do right by God, but we know that we need something right now. Whenever you're ready, when we can front like we just want to change our life and be better people, and that's cool, because a lot of us do and a lot of us want to. But don't be mistaken, we really need a miracle right now. Right now, we just like David in the den of lions. We looking for someone to come in, like that angel to come in and sit with us, so that we don't get trapped in none of these lion jaws. Like what the boy was in the well. Who was trapped in the well and couldn't get out. See, it be those kind Jonah, something like that. It be those kind of situations where, even though we be grateful, we still be looking for old Jesus to pull off these miracles that we have so read about. So Jack was one of those people. Know the word back and forth. Don't really do no wrong. Very trustworthy young man. So when you run into these kind of people, it automatically make you think like, man, what the hell did he do? Because, he good guy, will give you they last. Jack can have 2 soups in his box, two packs of noodles. Hey Jack, can I get them 2 noodles? Yeah, man, yeah. I mean, talking and cliche is one thing, but I mean, will literally give you his last. The last 2 things that he needs to eat in prison, he will give them to you. That kind of dedication to the Lord. Not only that, but he was also talented. Jack told me he knew martial arts. I can't remember which one it was. One karate, but it was either like jujitsu or one of the hand-to-hand combat type situations, taekwondo or something of the sort, right? He told me that he was experienced. I don't know how that could have came about, because I know that Jack has been incarcerated since a juvenile. I don't know how long it takes to master this stuff. But anyway, so as I'm going on with as I'm going on, with my prison journey, all we do while we in prison was gladiate. That would be exercising, play fighting, and real fighting. We wrestling, we slap boxing. When we have a problem, we real fighting. We doing it all, but everything was about getting bigger, better, stronger, and faster. The guys that didn't do that, you just got beat up. You know what I mean? So damn near our whole dorm was a gym. But I remember when we used to we used to leave the dorm to go to the gym when they called gym call. When they would call gym call, that's when I would get with Jack. Me and Jack would go in First it started with three of us, and then it just ended up with me and Jack. Me and Jack would go in the shoe closet, and Jack was helping me perfect my fighting style, because I had already had a style, but me and him were working on power. He was supposed to be teaching me some things, so we were working on the power distribution, and a lot of that was just knowing when to use the right amount of power. So we work on jabs, and this was just a lot of 1-2 action, just 1, 2, 1, 2. Whenever he called the ones, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2. We worked on that, and we would work on the southpaw style of fighting every day, almost for a year, just for the repetition. Knowing that, I'm not knowing, even though it feel awkward, I'm not knowing that if you keep doing this stuff, when you actually get into a confrontation, you will automatically go into a southpaw fighting style, and you'll do the things that you are trained to do. My only problem is I can stay focused and keep my style while it's good, while it's looking good and working good. If I get hit too hard enough, or if something happens to where it throws me off of what I'm doing, then I automatically go back to, what a regular fighting stance that's not southpaw. So now my right hand is back in front, and I'm street fighting again. I would have to stop, think, reset, and go back southpaw. When they have gym call, everybody come in gym. There's a mad rush to the closet because there's a limited amount of shoes. Let me tell you something. In prison, or at least in that gym, in Alto, we were still wearing Converse. Now, the Converse, I don't know if y'all know, the top flights from the Sandlot. So, the sole is that thick, but it looks that thick, but it's really, really thin. The sides have no support. You can really get hurt in these shoes. Some of the first basketball shoes ever was made. And so there's a mad rush for the closet because you're trying to get your shoes a good size before they all gone. So we would wait till everyone got all their shoes back on the floor playing ball, and then we would go in to do what we had to do. First, we started off with wrapping. We would wrap socks around our hands, a couple of pair of socks around our hands, and use it as pads. And we would practice like this for a while. It got to the point where, because I'm working out in the dorm, and then I'm coming up to train with Jack in the gym. It got to the point to where he began to tell me, and I was already a little bit bigger than him, but he had already started telling me, like, bro, it's getting too much. He like, I'm feeling it in my wrist. We would be punching, and he'd be like, 1, bow, 2, bow. Because when we throw in the 2, like the jabs are supposed to be just kind of like setting up. And then when you throw the 2, that's supposed to be, coming with some heat. So every time he holler 2, he really nervous. He 1, 2. And now every time he do it, I'm trying to break his wrist. And once he let me know that it was hurting, it really just turned me up more. I'm just being mean. Every time he holler 2, I'm putting all my shoulder into it. Bow. So it got to the point where the socks were not holding us any longer. They weren't doing what we needed to do. Because every time I get with him, after a little while, he would have to stop, like unwrap, give us some rest, wrap back up, and then we would continue. But that's throwing me off, what I got going on. So now it got to the point where we wrapping socks around our hands and putting Converse over the socks. So again, we got to wait till everybody run in the gym, get their stuff. And then now we going in and getting old shoes, putting it over the socks and stuff. And now it's just, when he put the socks over when he put the Converse over the socks, I am determined trying to bust one of these Converse in half while it's on his hand. I'm giving it all I got. I'm talking about every time, 1, 1, 2, bow, bow, boom. I'm talking killing it. So like I said, I eventually I accomplished my mission. I can see that I'm hitting so hard that the last time I tried to swing it, he jumped completely out of the way. You know, I almost hit the rest of the shoe rack. He jumped completely out of the way. Boom, I'm all shoulder. He like, no, that's it. So this probably was at the height of, you know, when I learned how to hit hard. This probably was my, was my beginning, was the beginning to me learning how to actually use the power that I have, because in a fight, you don't have to use all that power all the time. Well, if you know what you're doing, you really want to use that power to finish something off, and it was real important for us to look good while we were doing it, because it showed that you know what you're doing and, you got style. And me, I was bad. But anyway, that's another here or there. So that was my relationship with old Jack, man. We would never ever, I've never heard him cuss. I've never seen him take advantage of anybody. Always laughing. Always laughing. And again, like I said, the reason why I share this story is because I think about Jack got locked up when he was 14 years old. That was in 1996. I'm sorry, that was in 1994. Jack is on his 30th year. This year right here makes 30 years. Means he's 44 years old. Even me catching a case at 14, I miss a ton of first, to me, I thought I was missing the world. First prom, first, everything in high school, everything from high school on up, I missed. First this, first that. But I was able to get out in my 20s and still had a ton of first apartment, first car, first kid, first job, first everything, first driver's license, first just everything. And when I think about Jack, man, Jack ain't had a first nothing. Even when it come to sex, no first oral sex with a woman. I don't know. So I'm talking about we talking about women. No oral sex. He got locked up at 14. So, if I had to gamble, I don't know. Maybe he could have had sex before. I don't know. But we talking about 14 years old. So, no nothing, man. No schooling, no high school, no graduations, no nothing. Whole life totally forfeited. This is almost this like, man, y'all want to get graphic? It's like being jacked off into the toilet. You know what I mean? Someone should have just, just, it's almost like a waste of a birth, of a hospital, of a doctor, of everything. The whole life gone. And again, like I said, this is no disrespect to my boy. But I feel like these serious conversations need to be had, because the fact of the matter is, man, when them people hide you, it's you gonna need a religion. You're gonna need a religion. You're gonna need a miracle. You're gonna need to believe in something. You're gonna have to grab Allah, Jesus, Buddha, somebody. You're gonna need some help. Because when they put you in there and they forget about you, let's just be real. I'm not against anybody's religion or anybody what they believe in. But I would say like this: if Jesus can go, let me not do that because I got people that care about this. But this would be the kind of miracle to make me a believer. Jack, man. Jack, I mean, yeah. I think Jack deserved to be out here. Now, I can't say that, anybody when they right mind know that what Jack did was wrong. It was wrong. Can't take that back. You understand what I'm saying? So I really don't know which way to go on this situation. But I give y'all a little bit, man. I'll chop it up for y'all a little bit. I ain't gonna read the whole thing again, but I'm gonna chop it up for y'all a little bit. Was convicted of malice murder, feticide, armed robbery, aggravated battery, and participation in criminal gang activity by a person under 18 years of age in connection with the death of. For the reasons that follow, we affirm in part and vacate. See, even as I read this here, I'll try to look and find ways that I can kind of clean it up a bit. But the sad truth is, in order for me to make my point, I gotta give it raw and uncut. You see what I'm saying? So she was killed by a gunshot wound to the head while working at a dry cleaning store. She was 8 months pregnant, and her unborn child also died as a result of the shooting. There was a pair of blood-splattered shorts hanging by the cash register that had Jack's name and telephone number on the attached ticket. Investigators questioned Jack, then 14 years of age, in the presence of his uncle at his grandfather's house where Jack resided. The uncle gave his consent to search of the house except for the grandfather's bedroom. The grandfather was not present. Jack agreed to have his hands wiped for a gunshot residue test and stated that he had been target practicing early. Jack then stated that he was at the cleaners with a dude named Jack, and I did it with a dude named Jack. While there, Jack summoned Jordan inside and told him where in his grandfather's house the police could find the murder weapon and robbery proceeds. Jack was sentenced for both malice murder and aggravated battery. Although there's no merger of the two crimes, he was tried before a jury February 27th, March 2nd, 1995, and found guilty on all counts except felony murder, on which no verdict was returned. On March 2nd, 1995, he was sentenced to consecutive life terms for malice murder, feticide, and armed robbery. That's 3 different charges. He was sentenced to consecutive life terms for malice murder. So that's 1 life term for malice murder, 1 life term for feticide, 1 life term for armed robbery. 20 years in prison for aggravated battery to be conserved consecutively to the life terms, and 3 years in prison for participation in gang criminal activity to be served consecutively to the sentence for aggravated battery. So let me explain this really quick, because you have hope, you have wishes, you have Jesus and Allah, and a lot of that stuff on one hand, that's where the side where you looking for the miracles, and there's nothing wrong with that, because a lot of times that can be your salvation. It can bring you out. Then on the other hand, you have what I like to think of as reality. And reality is these people will bury you with so much time that it's almost impossible for you to calculate anything. Calculate what need to be done to get over it. Calculate anything. Meaning, we waiting on Jesus. Don't get me wrong, but this is what the white folks say. The white folks say, sentenced to consecutive life terms for malice, murder, feticide, and armed robbery. That's 3 charges, 3 different life sentences, consecutive. So, oh my goodness, he would have to make parole on the first life sentence, satisfy the second life sentence, and satisfy the third life sentence, because they're consecutive, right? And most of the time, a life sentence carry 30 years before it's, most of the time, it's around 30 years before. But things happen. So we got 30, 60, 90 years there, 20 years in prison for aggravated battery to be served consecutive to the life terms. So after the life terms are finished, they want you to do 20 years after that. So no telling how long the life terms will be. And they make sure they put the consecutive in there because they don't want the life terms ran together. So after that, then you have to start the 20-year bid in order to come home. Now, this is his 30th year. This is his 30th year. And 3 years in prison for participation in criminal gang activity to be served consecutively to the sentence for aggravated battery. So after all that, we got to go back again and finish these last 3 years. So, you know, if we just wanted to, I want to say be realistic, if we put 30 years on each life sentence, we'll say 30, 60, 90, then the 20 years, that's 110. And then the 3 consecutive. Yeah, that's 113 years. And that's on the light side. It's such a psychological thing because no one can see themselves with this kind of time piled on them. You know, if you talk to someone in a prison about getting a life sentence or, you know, having to deal with a life sentence, it's almost like chumping them off, almost like it can start a situation. I mean, I've seen 2 guys get to arguing about it. You know what I mean? One nigga said, damn, what they gave you life? And bruh got real offended, like, nigga, don't put that heavy shit on my side. What you mean, give me life? Nah, they ain't gave me life. You understand? So, people, for the most part, mind their business. Again, man, if Jack could have one wish, if Jack could turn back the hands of time, we don't think about this stuff when we not in these situations. But if Jack could do it all again, could you just imagine? Could he imagine? Anyway, man, I'm gonna let this one go. This one took a little bit out of me, man. Like I said, it's no disrespect. Hopefully no one to figure out who it is. I ain't gonna put him up there. But I have reached out to him. I've reached out to him and I'm trying to get him to come and talk with us, man, so we can get some insight, you know, not on nothing that he did, but you know, we trying to help somebody, and people been telling me in the comments that, you know, the videos help people. So listen, you know, y'all gonna hit like, share, subscribe. I really appreciate y'all for hanging in there with me. You know, hit the cash out. That's always appreciated. And I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one, man. Y'all stay out of trouble. Tell them kids stay out of trouble also.